What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about Faraday Future. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out from the company itself, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with that said, let's get right to it. So right now it is down 9.74%. Very little volume, so 7.9 million shares have been traded. 10 is the average. Most of the volume being done today is algorithmic trading. So I think all the big money that was once in Faraday has since left. Market cap is 6.96 million. There hasn't been any recent SEC filings, and as far as PR, it kind of shows that Faraday is falling apart. So this news that did come out on March the 4th, so after my last update, it shows that Faraday Future is going to be filing a lawsuit against Ding Li and affiliated companies, and it looks like just for trade secrets and unfair competition. So in reality, like, this isn't the lawsuit that I was anticipating, because they did hire recently that VP of legal. I think that was a good about 4 months ago, insinuating, at least I was insinuating, that they would be fighting against naked shorting, because they technically have hired, I think it was Share Intel or whatever agency, to track a lot of the trading. But unfortunately, nothing really amounted from any of that. And it looks like, just based on this news, my interpretation of it is just that Faraday is falling apart at this stage. And based on my last video, I did say that this was going to continue to trend down and most likely have a third reverse stock split. But since then, it's gone down a good 30% at least. And not only that though, I feel like potentially it might go back down to that whole 10-cent rule. So meaning even more so, they would need to do a very massive reverse stock split to rectify a potential, once again, that 10-cent bid price rule, and still that $1 bid price rule. That's even if the NASDAQ does allow them, right? Because they need to get approval on that. And if they do a, for instance, a 100-to-1 ratio or even greater, the NASDAQ could just deny them and of course just kick Faraday down to OTC. And when it comes to Faraday right now, with a market cap of just about $7 million, this could be a good potential takeover opportunity. Or, like I said in my last video, it is leading to bankruptcy. So maybe some institution is kind of watching at that stage, because they have made some pretty good connections that right now they wouldn't really save Faraday, but they could potentially buy them for 10 cents on the dollar. And so ultimately, it kind of does suck how Faraday really ended out, because over the last 6 months, give or take, it is down 98.74%. But despite the chart and all the writing that is on the wall, you do get a lot of morons out there that is still pumping Faraday. So you do see, for instance, on StockTwits, which definitely is not a good place for due diligence, but you get Flash Boys. And so this individual is pumping, it looks like Fisker, looks like also Faraday, somehow a collaboration with Ferrari, which is completely far-fetched. And it just shows that a lot of people just like to throw around a potential squeeze candidate. And so when it comes down to Faraday, given right now their short interest is 42.69% and utilization is 95.38, cost to borrow average is 18.51, and 16.28 million shares overall are being shorted, yes, it is relatively high. The only thing that you do need that would prompt a squeeze is a surprise catalyst, because you need those 4 things I just mentioned, but more specifically, what a lot of companies struggle with is that surprise catalyst. If you don't have that, then why on earth are shorts going to squeeze? You get a lot of people, just like I said, just dumb, throwing the word potential squeeze candidate out there without really understanding the basis of what prompts a squeeze. So right now, shorts are increasing today, 595,000 shares, about 3 minutes left in the trading day. So it looks like this is kind of where it's going to be at the end. But still, like Faraday, if there's maybe a takeover opportunity or a takeover announced, then yes, that is very surprising. And thus, depending on, I guess, a lot of the terms and conditions of that takeover, then there could be a squeeze associated to that. But Faraday's not going to squeeze right now. Shorts are having absolutely their time of their life with Faraday, and that has to do with management just completely fucking up on every single level. And clearly, just based on all the news, like they've given up now even with the fluff news. So you can tell based on that, reading between the lines, things have gone very, very bad, of course. And looking at options, very little dollar value, but $2,000 in calls being purchased and $200 in puts. Sentiment wise, 72% of all the options being done today are bearish. So with it sitting at 15 cents, like there's no real point in doing calls or puts because it is below that 50-cent strike price, which is kind of the nearest one. So options does not make sense. But despite that though, you still see bearishness. So all in all, I feel like nobody is really buying Faraday, with the exception of maybe this individual and a small other handful, I guess, of people on 𝗪𝗧𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧. But like I've said, well before this even reverse stock split was even announced, like this one right here, the 1 for 3, before that was even announced, I did say that they were needing to do one. And shortly after this 1 for 3 was announced for I guess the vote, technically I did say that there is going to be a third one, and I still stand by my word. There is going to be a third reverse stock split. That's again contingent on if the NASDAQ does approve it, and I feel like the NASDAQ is not going to approve it, only because if they need to rectify that 10-cent or future 10-cent deficiency again and that $1 bid price, they need to do a dramatic, like probably a 1 to 200 or something crazy, because this 1 for 80 didn't last long, and then this 1 for 3 clearly is going to last maybe a good 2 weeks. Probably it's not even been 1 week since the 1 for 3. So all in all, not necessarily the best. If you are looking at trading Faraday though, with it at 14 cents and change, the market's going to be closing in exactly 1 minute. But technically with it at 14 cents and change, it is trading between right here. So this S2 and this S1. So it landed exactly on a very strong support. And if this support is to break, then anticipate it to trend around that 10-cent mark. And last video, I said this exact same thing, that if it does break this 17, then anticipate the 14. If this does break, of course, then anticipate the 10. And then if the 10 breaks, which most likely it will, because there is no reason for anyone to buy Faraday, because that is what this market is all about. If there's no reason, no incentive to buy, then why, like, all big money has gone out of Faraday. So there's nothing really standing, or like management has done absolutely nothing to promote their business. Like early part of maybe, or tail part of 2023, yeah, they were very much involved, doing a lot of fluff PR. Even though I wasn't a fan of it, it still was good effort. Now they've just given up completely. And I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see. A lot of people are still speculating when their earnings are going to be. Based on this, it does actually say today is going to be the day. So you do see March the 7th, 2024 estimated. So if there is some document that is submitted to the SEC today, then I'll be able to analyze that, do a video on that. And of course, some key things that you want to watch for is cash. That literally nobody will care about earnings per share, revenue, and in fact no analyst even cares about Faraday at this stage. But technically the only thing that you really want to watch for is how much cash they do physically have. And of course then the caveat to that would be, when is dilution going to occur next? And plus, you'll want to watch what the current outstanding share count is, just to see how much dilution has been occurring over the last little bit. So all kind of important points to kind of keep in mind. But quickly moving on, I wanted to show you one thing as far as the ownership, because I briefly did bring this up. But based on the last submissions, it did insinuate that there's about 1.28 million held by institutions, 5.32 million in strategic entities, and 35.81 million in other, aka retail. So I've seen a lot of random posts as well on 𝗪𝗡𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧 saying that institutions are going to come in and save the day, and a lot of funding is coming and just whatever else. Like, I actually did a video and I even pointed it out, saying in front of my eyes right now, big money is selling. So most likely this 1.28 million, a good 50, possibly even more percentage of that already have sold out. So a lot of people are looking for saving graces. So make sure you guys always do your own due diligence at the end of the day, because in my opinion, I feel like Faraday is past the point of any institution saving. Like, management has dropped the ball so much on this company. It is very sad to really see how this did really turn out and develop develop. So let me know your thoughts on Faraday and give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with Faraday? I know in my last video I did really recommend a lot of people not to hold Faraday and just to essentially sell out, because it is going to trend down, and like I said, it has gone down 30% from that. And yeah, so a lot of people are just hoping for a squeeze at this stage, and if that does happen, then potentially everyone is just going to try to cut their losses and sell out, so that squeeze thus would be very short-lived. So all in all, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for an account with Moomoo through a $100 ad and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000, so take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.